I'm using this obviously for you guys. Just if you look at the recasting, if we look at the recasting PPG text, which is obviously going to be come down to us, and it's going to be transposed based on our translations. It talks a bit about one-stop shop, and it just I wonder, is it the same when they talk about one-stop shop in this new recasting PPG on a European scale? Is it the same one-stop shop that, let's say, SCAI are talking about? Because the one-stop shop I'm familiar with in Ireland is a build design, the company that has a limited range of products, a stable of products, like this is the external wall insulation system we use, this is the attic insulation product we use, or whatever. But what the EU wants is disinterested advice, which has the interest of the owner at heart and relates to the actual building, which may, for instance, be a historic building or may have maybe housing may not come, may have whatever characteristics. And I have a certain reluctance or caution or concern that we're giving one particular group in Ireland, that we're giving a huge leg up and we're giving financing support and we're asking them, you've got to create a very robust process, no doubt. And we're going to give that group then we're going to say to them, you need to provide the guidance that up till now, architects and engineers, building design consultants who have an ethical underpinning and are not selling a product, they're selling their advice. And we're giving nationally and across, nationally anyway, we're going to give, it seems, this great opportunity to companies that have a natural interest to sell that product. How are you addressing that? How is SEAI addressing that?
Well, I suppose the first thing we've done is we've created the market of furniture one-stop shops. So the homeowner has an option, has more than one option if you look at them. And with any market, there's it's based on delivery cost. And you may be at the beginning, or if at the beginning, there are kind of if some kind of one-stop shops find that they're not getting the business that they were set up to kind of get and attract, the market forces will kind of force them to understand what prices they're charging, what the actual specification they're using is. And so from a cost point of view, I think the market will settle to a certain extent, and at the very worst, at least in a homeowner has a choice, and we encourage them to go to at least 3 one-stop shops to get a quote and to compare those. I suppose another, and I know it's not maybe your point exactly, but another thing that we can do and that we have done is we've kind of analysed the measures per market type. We've kind of broken it down into kind of 4. It's kind of a 3-month market. A bigger kind of standalone house, and we've kind of looked at the data that we're getting from the one-stop shops when they're claiming the cost of the works. And so we provided some advice. There's a 1-page or a 2-page on our website, which we produced kind of toward the end of last year, which kind of outlined what for each of those articles, what were the typical measures that were employed, and what was the kind of average cost that that the upgrade came in at. And obviously that's the average cost, so there's those above and those below it. And that's was kind of put out there so that homeowners have some kind of indication that when we do get quotes back from the individual one-stop shop, that they can compare it and they can see, well, maybe I need to get another quotes on this before we proceed. In terms of kind of disinterested advice, I know that we do require that the PEO that is kind of carrying out prior to the upgrade is by an independent from the PDO or PDO assessor. That's not, but it's not, how to say, but it's, it's not by the kind of one stuff itself.
So they have an independent CEO assessor, not a nice.
Not
One very good example, that cottage we saw earlier on is made with solid concrete from 1886. It's very, very good quality concrete. We treated it as if it were a rubble wall, and therefore we used a very completely open, breathable insulation system. That's got nothing to do with the BDR, and certainly if somebody was looking at the stable of materials that they had in their one-stop shop, they would have said concrete solid wall. They went with thinking like something from the 1940s or 60s, where you could use insulation plastic. Which might be appropriate for a modern concrete solid wall, and the BER will tell you the same thing. The difference is in 5 or 6 years' time, you might have moisture damage in one case and an elevation conductivity and not in the other case. So there's a judgment which might take you beyond the product stable that your one-stop shop has. And my concern is there a disinterested perspective that looks from the perspective of moisture, carbon, and value and health that goes beyond the bottom line and goes beyond the stable of products that one company has to have.
You mentioned this kind of these are buildings that maybe as an owner they're going to look at too costly to do anything with, and then concern over. Were there any incentives or like carrots or sticks that led that asset owner to reuse instead of demolish?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
In terms of body carbon, not really. I think there's, that's why I was actually asking earlier, are there been any grants for commercial? Because the problem is, I think residential is the biggest problem. Maybe it's not far behind in terms of the scale of the amount of buildings that are potentially becoming stranded. And it's the one we have to tackle the worst ones first. And we've been talking quite a lot about this with our consultants and clients, and we see it as obviously for businesses like us, it is an opportunity for potential new work, but it's a huge challenge for the industry. And there's been little movement over the last year or two, but it's not probably happening at the pace that it needs to happen. So in my view, I know I don't know is the answer, but I think we need some, if there isn't any, in terms of either grants or tax incentives or some kind of legislation. And someone mentioned living over the shop, like that's one I think that frustrates most Irish people, because every city you see, they've got the ground floor, there's a shop, and then the towns and cities can be a little bit lifeless. So if you walk around Grafton Street area, and you look up at the storage boxes in the windows of these beautiful old buildings, why is nobody living there? So there certainly needs to be a carrot and a stick there, whether it's zoning or planning incentives by the city and by the state. So
Isn't that called the donut effect? Where people leave at night.
yeah, so we have some of the worst urban sprawl in Europe, if not the world. I suppose we were lucky with the fact that our cities grew in the kind of 60s, 70s, 80s, ballooned out was when car-based planning was just the go-to and the status quo. So we're now trying to reverse that and try to work within the city limits to densify. So yeah, there's a huge challenge.
I think the carrot and stick conversation, I think it's green finance. I think it's the funders and the financial lenders or investors, whatever it is, the push are coming from that side. So, and it's to be ahead of that, because you talk about stranded assets, and we all know, how long it takes to get the project to the day to Turkey. So I think that's going to be part of the conversation as well. It is currently, I'm looking for swap drugs.
I think it has been to focus on the operational side, and it's now needed more on the body side. So as you say, the financing, if you don't have, if your building isn't performing to a certain level, you're just not financing anymore. But now I think we're going to start to have to see the carbon calculation go with that, which
just to finish, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if you can't calculate it, and if you don't know it and you don't have the data from the outset, you can't make these decisions at all. That's very difficult. So it's a question I had in mind here.
Yeah, another question to David, on the one-stop shop. I kind of agree with Joseph that this is really suited to very specific companies, and it's definitely something that can solve the housing crisis in certain ways. So you could have a company that's really good prefabricated, something speedy construction, and that would be an ideal case. But it doesn't accommodate to a lot of other potential other scenarios. And I'm wondering, is the one-stop shop set up to for collectives of companies maybe that could come together? Like, let's say a prefabrication contractor, they say a brilliant SCA has a grant for a one-stop shop, but they don't have the core competency to do design or to do, you know, post occupancy check, whatever it is, and they kind of fake that. So it seems like that kind of scheme would make sense to have a way you could get companies to come together and say, we're an ecosystem of companies that can deliver a one-stop shop. Is there anything like that within the scheme?
Sure, and typically a one-stop shop, a single company doesn't on its own become a one-stop shop. They either have to kind of supplement what they do with kind of new skills to them, or it might be a joint venture between a couple of existing companies that have joined forces. And in that case, depending on the company's structure, the turnover can be considered, based on the kind of historical turnover of the aggregate of those two companies, depending on the structure that's set up. So, we do accommodate that, and actually probably I would say in most cases, there's some kind of coming together of different skills from different companies. So we typically do see that. Sorry.
I think the word competency is question one here. It goes back to conversations we're having here. I mean, it's registered for a group of people who have competency, either credentials or prior learning or monitoring of that. I mean, I'm a registered architect. I've, earned the credentials for that, but I have to demonstrate that on an annual basis that I have done my appropriate CPD as opposed to on the back of qualifications I've had prior, from 15 years ago, prior to changes in legislation. This is a critical issue. I'll use the phrase again. We can't be retrofitting the retrofits. So we need proven competencies and ensuring that there's a monitoring of the competencies on an annual basis to ensure you have the right people doing this, however it is, whether it's the one-stop shop grouping or partnerships, sourcing or whatever within that. Just really, the word competency is like keyword for the day.
Last question. Okay, sorry.
I'm just going to go back to a point you were earlier about carbon and the body carbon and cycles. One of the things that we mandated last year, the 4th of July, the other thing we mandated was ICMS. That's an international standard. It's a global standard. In fact, it's not even international, it's global. But we in the SCSI and in the OGP, which is are mandated. So from the beginning of this year, we're supposed to be doing life cycle costing, life cycle analysis. Well, come next year, we have to do the embodied carbon. So besides just doing bills and quantities, we actually doing bills and carbon. So that is one thing that will incentivize people to do not demolish and rebuild, because it's huge. But the other thing, and that lady right now said it, is the green finance and the green procurement. It be part of the green procurement. So I think with the OGP and the government doing it, everyone will eventually automatically do it, because what's the climate action plan if you don't do it? Talk but no action. So the ICMS is something you need to look out for now, because that's mandated. So I'll say next year it's embodied carbon, that's what it is. Oh, sorry.
And answer the question I had. I was going to ask you.
Could I just say on that? I think obviously you're correct and in place, etc. I think for us, National Building Council, it's an issue of scale, a lot of the mandates, it's starting with big organizations and bigger scale projects. And in many ways, they're sort of doing that in any way. Obviously under ESG, they would have the big models because they're doing it with the scale of projects. So it's actually smaller. We started our conversation with Enterprise Ireland. It's the SMEs, it's the smaller projects, it's let's say retrofit projects, smaller projects that aren't even subject to statutory requirements, and therefore they're under the radar. So I stress again the issue of registers. So it's really supporting smaller operators. I mean, it's a digital conversation we're having here today, sharing of data. I said it again. So whilst the bigger guys are doing, guys and girls, it's supporting the smaller ones as well.
No, I do agree with that, but it's the same bid mandate. The bid mandate is rolled out over a number of years. Give everyone time to scale up and get on board. So if you can say with carbon packaging, you find carbon, there's a bottle or there's carbon. It'll be the exact same. It's transition period, and you do have to allow for it.
Absolutely, and then the 2030 is not that far away. And that's it's to be ahead of the mandate. That's their goal.
There much upskilling from the FDSI, and I presume it's going to be the QS.
Yes, yes.
The thing of further, let's call it.
Watch that space. It's a huge amount of it. What we have brought out now is we have ICMS 3, which is the carbon capture brought out. We have ICMS 3 explained. We have for the Irish jurisdiction because it's a global standard. So we have actually also done mapping. We've done mapping from the National Building Standard elements, the ICMS as well. And the OGP have now changed all of their documentation. I grant you they're public to comply with the ICMS as it's unfolding. So a mixture of lots of space with the SCSI can be huge.
And unlike BIM, this is going to be a huge undertaking for the whole supply chain. The manufacturers of all the products, the logistics, getting it where it needs to be, everything is going to be incorporated in this. So it's not just us in this room, it's the suppliers in the supply chain too.
And I think if I may say again, just going back to this indicate projects, because it is a national methodology, which is the carbon calculation methodology, that we're finding, okay, QS are these parallels to the quantities, which is
Correct, yes, Phil?
yes, and at the same time, architects understanding it, engineers understanding it, it's really designed team collaboration, because we can't be designing solutions, we need to be thinking about design with assembly, we need to be thinking about circularity, etc. So there's a whole layer in it, and it is collaboration.
No, I completely agree. It's all about optioneering early on.
Yes.
Best options.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
Oh, very much. Sorry. Talk about this all day.
Yeah, I just want to put the mic here and say a few closing words.
Because I was late.
Thank you there. So thank you everyone for attending this morning, and thank you to Claire, doing a great job. If I get the mic in, I'll just hold it here, it's fine. And the speakers, to Harry, to Sinead, to David, to Joseph, and to Keith, who had to leave a bit earlier. We wouldn't normally have 5 speakers, 3 would do, but we got 5 super speakers today. When everyone said yes, we couldn't, but so thank you so much for taking your time. I know how busy you all are. Some fantastic messages. This is not a question, but I just wonder, is retrofitting the answer to the housing crisis? Certainly part of it. I think personally, there's too much gentle persuasion in this country in regard to home energy retrofitting. It needs to be much more aggressive, and if we're to meet the targets. And that's as a house owner who has a house 20 years of age that's very inefficient. But the business case for me has not been proven. There's not enough of an incentive for me to retrofit my home. So on the screen, we have an announcement. It's our CitA Tech Live 24. So we're going to the regions this year again, to Limerick, and we're looking at artificial intelligence. Why not? It seems to be the topic of the moment. And is this the next frontier for Irish construction? Some of you who might have watched the news this week or reading the social media would have heard that Professor Jeff Hinton was in Ireland, former Google lifetime scholar, academic, really warning of the danger of AI.
he actually regrets some of the work that he has done with Google because of what they have created. So we have a mature opportunity to discuss artificial intelligence and how it's going to maybe positively impact on construction. And we're using a very well-known framework called the Harold Levitt 1960 PPT framework, which is looking at AI, how it affects people, how it affects process, and how it affects technology. So we have a QR code there. So by using your phone now, or when you get the time at home in the office, perhaps do the survey. It's a short survey. It does get you to, gives you an opportunity to express, any concerns you might have about AI, but it also gets you to select how you feel AI will affect people, process, and technology. Are we going to have new careers? Yes, we are. Are we going to have less people available? Yes, we will. And are we going to be doing things differently in the future? Absolutely. So there's also an opportunity there for you to put into the survey a suggested topic that you'd like to speak in. So we're kind of getting our network to build the program, and that's so really we'd love to see you all in Limerick later in the year. Apologies. So our next event, I believe, is the 14th of May, and we're back here and we're focusing on construction project management. So this is really, I suppose, what are the skills, the technical, the soft skills that are needed to create better construction outcomes, safer, more sustainable, and dealing with the challenge of, I suppose, less people and more technology. So some of our speakers are represented in the room here today, and we hope to finalize that program lineup very shortly. We're then going to Cork, I believe, on the 28th of May, which is a regional meeting. And so, we'll be building that program. And can I just say thank you also to all the sponsors that we have gained this year. There's plenty of room for more sponsors. Your support would be greatly appreciated. So that really brings it to the close. One thing, I suppose, as I'd say, as the founder of the Alliance many years ago, one of the co-founders, is we've done three things really well in the Alliance. We run good events, no? Yeah, doing great. We have a great team who see how calm they were when we had that technological disaster early. Like you can't teach that. That just comes with experience. Second thing we do really well is we do lots and lots of training, lots and lots of learning. We've one of the longest established construction skill nets in the country, and hats off to the guys since 2008, since Dan joined us, that we've been year on year winning this funding. So thank you for all of those who were dealing and engaging with that training. And the other thing we do really well is we have our fingerprints on policy. So by way of an example, the Irish BIM mandate, or the Irish BIM roadmap, we were one of the authors with Enterprise Ireland on that. We were involved in Build Digital. And now, without giving too much away, we've also got our fingerprints on another policy initiative around MMC. More about that anon, but it will involve us building a platform. It will involve us running a roadshow. And it will involve us engaging, like Sinead said, with lots of people around MMC. It's not going to be the complete answer, but we're going to be looking at skills and talents for what we're going to need in the future. So I'm very proud of that. That we're continuing to become relevant in the policy era. So listen, thank you so much. We're a little bit later than ever, bang on nearly 12 o'clock, but I think you all agree it was a great morning. And we look forward to seeing you in May, perhaps in Limerick, no, in Cork, on the 28th. And please do the survey, because the survey will help us build the program that you'll come to on the 9th of October in Limerick. Is that right? So thank you so much.